Okay, let's talk about decimals now. We're going to learn how to add, subtract, and multiply and divide decimals. Decimals is just another way of describing parts of a whole, very much like fractions, okay, only it's a lot easier. Deci, okay, means 10, okay, the number 10. So in these particular type of fractions, the only denominators that they're going to use are 10 or multiples of 10. This makes it a lot easier. For example, if we have 1 over 10, okay, 1/10 of something, okay, miles we cut into tenths, right? There's a tenth of a mile. 1/10 is going to be written as a decimal like this, 0.1. That's the code, okay? If you have a decimal point and just one number after it, you know that that means 1/10, and we would say it 1/10, okay? If we had 2/10, it would look like this, 2/10, okay? 3/10 would look like this, all the way up to 9/10. That's as high as we can go, okay, with tenths. So that's the first decimal place, the 10th place, okay? What if we have 100th of something? Well, if you had a large wedding cake, I suppose you could cut it into 100 pieces, okay? And each person would get 1/100th or 100th of it, okay? In decimals, that would be written with 2 places filled up, okay? 2 places filled up tells me that my denominator here is 100. I would write 100 like this, okay? 100th, okay? When I see this, 0.01, okay, I know that means 100th or 100th, okay? And again, the hundredths go from 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, all the way up to 0.25, 0.26, all the way up to 0.99, okay, or 99 hundredths, okay? So this is the code that tells me that I'm talking about hundredths of something now, okay? And one more that we'll look at, we don't see this very often, but once in a while we'll do, if you have a decimal point, put it over here, if you have a decimal point with 3 spaces being occupied, okay, you know that those are going to be called thousandths. Okay? 1 place tells you it's going to be tenths, 2 places filled up tell you hundredths, 3 places filled up is going to be thousandths, okay? So if we have something like 0.325, okay, that's the same as 325 thousandths, okay, or 325, okay, a lot of words there, 325 thousandths, okay? So that's the first thing we should realize when we're working with decimals, okay? How to read them correctly and what they really mean, okay? This would be 4/10, okay? This would be 10 thousandths because there's 3 places, okay? And this would be 98 hundredths because there's 2 places, okay? 4/10, 10 thousandths, and 98 hundredths, okay? That's how you read decimals properly. Sometimes we say it for short, we'll say 0.98, okay? But correctly it's 98 hundredths. We could say 0.4, but correctly it's 4/10. Okay, addition of decimals, okay? Add decimals. Well, you've been doing this all your life with money, okay? If you have to add $3.15 plus $2.25, okay? We know we're not going to add across this way. We're going to set them up and down, but we know we would do it like this, plus 225, and we would add 5 and 5 is 10, carry the 1. That's going to be 4. That's going to be $5.40, okay? So the rule for adding decimals is you just line your numbers up so the decimal points are in a straight line, and then bring that number down into the answer, okay? Line up the decimal points and put them in a straight line. What if you had a problem like this? What if you had 4/10 plus 25 hundredths plus 332 thousandths, okay? Equals what? Well, again, I'm going to change these into an up and down. 4/10 and then 25 hundredths and then 332 thousandths to add them up, okay? Now, this is a little ragged here, okay? So what I'm going to do to make it easier for me is add some zeros here. That doesn't change the values, but now I'm not going to get confused when I start adding these numbers, okay? This is going to be a 2, this is going to be an 8, this is going to be a 9, and the decimal point comes right straight down, okay? 0.982, 982 thousandths, okay? What if you see a whole number with your decimals when you're adding? What if you had something like this? 64 plus 0.23, okay? No, not a problem. 5.64 plus 0.23. Okay, we put the whole amount on this side, the decimal amount on this side. We still line up the decimal places. 4 plus 3 is 7, 6 plus 2 is 8. 5.87. If it were money, it would be $5.87. Sometimes they're going to give you a problem like this to see how clever you are. Okay, what if they give you a problem like this? 5 plus 0.02 is what? 5 plus 0.02. Well, again, your common sense can tell you, well, if that's $5 and that's 2 cents, the answer is $5.02. Okay, so no, the answer is going to be $5.02. But we're trying to do it the proper way here. How do I line up the decimal points? Well, 5 doesn't have a decimal point. At least it's not showing one. Okay. What we would have to do is we'd have to give it one. Well, are we going to call it 0.5? Is that the same as $5? No, it's not. Okay. We're going to put the decimal point to the right of the 5. We're going to call that 5 point. 5 point nothing, okay? Or we could put 5.0. 5 is the same as 5.0. Plus 0.02. Now we can line up the decimal points. Now we can square off our problem with an extra 0 here. If we add these now, we get 2, we get 0, and there's our $5.02, okay? So if they give you a whole number with no decimal point, you give it one, okay? Right after the number itself, okay? Okay, subtracting decimals. It's the same rule as addition. We line up the decimal points and bring the decimal point down into the answer, okay? For example, 5 and 35 hundredths minus 2 and 10 hundredths, okay? Again, first we're going to line these up and down. 5.35 minus 2.10 lines up nicely. We bring the decimal point down. Remember, we're subtracting now. Make sure you do the right operation. Sometimes people make a mistake on this, okay? 5 minus 0 is 5, 3 minus 1 is 2, 5 minus 2 is 3. The answer is $3.25, okay? Remember, the larger number always goes on top, okay, when you set up your subtraction problems. Here's another one. What if you have 4.7 minus 2.8 equals what? Okay, well again, the first number, the larger number is going to go on top. 4.7 minus 2.8. Okay, well, the decimal points are lined up. The decimal point comes straight down to your answer, and we can borrow right through the decimal point. 4 becomes a 3, that becomes 17, okay? 17 minus 8 is 9. 3 minus 2 is 1, okay? We get 1 and 9/10, 1.9. What about this one? What if you have 5 minus 0.35? Well, again, you can think about money, okay? If you have $5 and you subtract 35 cents, you're going to have what left? $4.65, okay? So we know we're going to look at $4.65 for an answer. Sometimes it helps to estimate your answer, to make sure your answer is going to make sense. And we have the same problem here. We have to set this up. The 5 doesn't have a decimal point. We have to give it one, okay? So 5 becomes 5 point, or 5.0. And now we're going to subtract 0.35. Well, how do we subtract 5 from nothing? Well, we're going to put another 0 up on top. That's how we're going to do it, okay? We're not just going to bring that 5 down, okay? Put another 0 up on top. And then we've got to borrow, just like we would if it were whole numbers, all the way back to the 5. The 5 becomes a 4. That becomes a 10. Then we borrow from it. It becomes a 9. And that becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. The decimal point comes down. And $4.65. So that's how we would deal with a whole number with no decimal point. Another type of problem you might see might be like this. If you have 2.3 minus 4.44, okay? 2.3 minus 0.44. I lined up the decimal point, so my decimal point is going to come down here. Again, we have an empty space up above here. We're going to fill that in with a 0. Okay, we can always add zeros to the end of decimals without changing their value. Do some borrowing. The 3 becomes a 2, and that becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. We need to borrow again. The 2 becomes a 1. 12 minus 4 is 8. And we get 1.86. 1 and 86 hundredths. Okay? We can always add zeros after the decimal point. When you do a decimal problem with a calculator, okay, if you're working with money and you do a problem and the answer comes out on your calculator to be 2.5, well, the calculator doesn't have a dollar sign inside of it. So it's not going to tell you the dollar sign. You have to put that there yourself when you transfer your answer. And the calculator also doesn't know that you'd like another 0 after there. So if you have money problems come out on the calculator and it comes out looking like this, you've got to put another 0 there, okay? And make that $2.50. Okay?